it is time to actually repair my bike. I'm driving it now for about a month, 2 months, with several problems. One of them's been getting worse and worse. One of them's been the same for I don't know how long, and a new one has developed. The one which I've been putting up with for ages, which has slowly been getting worse, is the grub screws on the grip for the rear gears from 1 to 5. They've loosened off, so now when you try and change gear, especially when you're going up gears, it just does this. That's really annoying. So I just need to tighten up the 2 grub screws on there. The problem which has been going on for ages is that gear there for 1 to 3, which is kind of a high, medium and low range, I could call it. If you're in gear 3 on there, gear 1 in fact, it will ride fine. If you're in gear 2, it will ride fine. If you're in gear 3, it will ride fine. But if you're in gear 1 and you change up to any of these other gears and then try to go back down, it will not go back into gear 1 unless you change that to gear 1. It doesn't matter what gear that's in, but that will only go back to gear 1 if that one's in gear 1. That is because the cable's out of adjustment. The only other way to get it to go in is while you're driving along is to grab hold of that and push on it, which is actually I wouldn't, and you have to be pedalling at the same time, so I would rather not chop my fingers off doing it. So yeah, that's going to be the first things I have to fix today. My brakes are working fine, but they are way out of adjustment. That will stop me brilliantly and I can do awesome skids. In fact, that's why my front tyre is bald, even though I have no front brake pads. That is bald because it used to be my back tyre. I didn't want to completely wear it out so that I couldn't use it. Although I do have a spare, but I didn't want to wear it out completely. So what I did, air leaks out that valve and you have a flat tyre. So I have to, somehow I'm going to take that valve out and clean it all with, where's it gone? Yeah. Fake WD-40, I'm just going to use that to wash it all down with. Hopefully it works. I've got to do the same to the front one. The front one's not as bad as the back one. I ended up having to come home at lunch today to sort it out. Yeah, that's about it. Well, front shocks I thought were working a couple of months back, and then I thought I better just put some oil in them just to keep them a little bit lubed up. And all of a sudden I just noticed that they were actually moving, which I never realised they did. It's amazing. So apparently they were either seized or stuck, and filling them up with engine oil, so somehow managed to make them spring again. This thing sits outside, all weather, all year round, rain, snow, hail, sun, doesn't matter, it's usually out in it. It only stayed in here, back against that back wall, when I very first got it, for about a month or 2 months until it started pissing me off because it kept getting in the way, so I left it outside. And I've never had any problems with it, except for one seized brake cable, which was no problem at all. I managed to piece that together out of I think it was the front brakes which seized actually. Yeah. Oh no, there is one problem which I've always had with this bike. After a few days I got it. I had to move myself backwards a little bit, and the S got caught up and it bent it. I haven't replaced it since. It does work and it does go through all the gears. The problem it's now recently got is that this chain keeps popping off when it's in gear 5 and getting stuck in between the gear and the rear mounting point for the wheel, which kind of sucks. But the easy way to get it off is just grab a hold of the top of the chain, give it a yank, put it back on my hand, and it works fine after that usually. Although it did come off twice in a row today. It only seems to come off if you put a lot of force in it all of a sudden. Like if I suddenly start accelerating or pulling off in gear, like gear 5. At the moment it's in gear 15. No, not 15, gear 10, sorry. I used to drive around in gear 5 all of the time, but recently I put it up to gear 10 and it's just stayed there. I hardly ever actually use it. We'll address the easy thing first. Well, that's all it is. Just a grub screw there and a grub screw here. At least it should be. If it's not, I'll be a very unhappy person. There you go. Perfect. Doesn't move no more. Fan-fucking-tastic. Next there is that's not even adjustable, that's just a nut with a slot cut in it just to hold the cable. The only way I can adjust this one is by adjusting it on that cable there. And I think that's original, I'm not sure. I might actually just run some WD-40 through all of the cables actually while I'm here. before I clean it all up. It's filthy. It hasn't had a wash in over a year. I need to get a woman's seat, I'm afraid, because these seats suck. It's a good way to get castrated. Anyway, so do the brakes. That's all. Okay. I've done that. I did make a bit of a fuck up. I lost the actual proper clamping thing that this uses, which looks like that. You see? But I'd put that on it, which is I think it's like an M10 or M8. I think it's actually an M8 nut with a M6 bolt just going through there, which has got a hex on the top, the same as that one. That there's just you acting as something just to grab a hold of it. Unfortunately, that one's anodized, I think, or chrome, something stupid like that, so it can't rust. This one's not, and it was a little bit stuck, but just a little bit of brute force got that one freed up. That is filthy and disgusting, as you see. It does work. So take that out, and it's going to collapse on me. So it should collapse, but it hasn't. Yeah, that's how well that's working. That should have. There we go. That's how well it works. Yeah, that's really, really stuck. We'll have to take that off and see what's going inside on the inside. Here we go. One shagged shock. Let's see what's wrong with it and see if it's repairable. Okay, I took the old bastard thing apart. Just found it. Well, I didn't actually take it all apart. I had all the springs and all that crap off. But to be honest, I couldn't get the bitch apart, so I gave up. But I cleaned the whole thing. Looks a lot better. That's all I really care about. And I'm gonna bung it back on now. Find the way it is. Just okay. I'll have to lift up the bike a bit because it's not gonna fit. And I want to take off this pivot and clean that a little bit, because it should actually move a fair bit there. And it's not moving at all. Oh, there we go. Okay, now that looks pathetic. Okay, there we go. I'll have to take the pivot apart and just clean inside that a little bit. It looks fucking filthy. In fact, it is fucking filthy. The amount of dust on this thing. I used to occasionally grease everything, but then well, it doesn't even have a hole at the bottom. There should be a hole there, so if water ever gets in through the bearings or anything, it can get out. Which is, that at the back is just terrible. It needs taken apart, but I'm not going to bother doing it. The ratchet and all that's terrible. I need a new rear wheel, to be honest. Those bearings aren't going to last that much longer. I can just hear it. There's so much grit in them. So you can hear it. So much grit in there, it's terrible. It's just going to act like sandpaper. It's going to destroy the bearing. But hey, catastrophic failure. When it goes, it goes. Right, so next thing, take this boat. No, put the shock in, and then take the pivot bolt out. That would be fun. I think it only comes out from this side. Right, now I'm gonna put some WD-40 on all these cables. So this is a relatively bad idea. To be honest, it does work, but you start going over rocks and things. Well, any dust which your front wheel picks up, it's gonna go in there and it's gonna cause problems. But to be honest, right now I couldn't give a flying fuck. So it'll keep me going for a bit longer. And with any luck, it comes down to actually it seizing. I can use this just again to unseize it, just to flush the dirt out. You can get cool little doodads which you clamp onto the cable. Do this and that. You just unhook it, clamp it on. It's got O-rings in it. You plug your thing of WD-40 into it. You spray it and it flushes it. And there is no way for it to get out here. At the moment you see it sprays out everywhere, but using that little thing it would actually force the fluid through the cable and should unseize it, which I'd rather like the idea of that. And I can buy them on eBay. They're not expensive, but hey, can't be bothered to buy one right now because I'm poor. Well, after using my fantastic brake and crushing my testicles, I will now adjust this. I could try and adjust it with these screws, but I couldn't give a fuck right now. Actually, I might just do that because I can't be bothered to be fucking around with a spanner doing all this bull crap. We'll use this, see if we can get it to move. It's one of these, I know it is. Let's make it move the wrong way. Let's make it move the right way. What about this one? What's this one do? That one do fuck all in next position. That might just work there. Okay. Now, best thing to do is take it. But you know what? It gets you from me. So people, it is now fixed. Everything works. The what was it? Okay. The rear brakes are now extremely good. A little bit more touchy than what they were before. That's gonna be fine. Those ones are actually working now absolutely perfect. Does not matter where you run through them, they work fine. Those ones are the same as what they were before. Still, they aren't 100%. They don't like, if you suspension as it was before, unnoticeable. You didn't even know it's there. That's really about it. Very, very happy with that. I just need to get some front brake pads because I would like to have both brakes. I'll probably still only use the back ones and end up having no rubber left.